Look at a piece of fluorite. To the naked eye, it appears as a continuous, solid mass. But the macroscopic shape of this crystal, its perfect 90-degree intersections, is dictated entirely by rigid internal geometry. To understand this structural perfection, we have to look past the surface. Inside, atoms are locked into a periodic, repeating three-dimensional grid. Analyzing macroscopic properties, like conductivity or physical cleavage, does not require calculating the position of a billion individual atoms. We only need to isolate the smallest repeating portion of the structure. We call this isolated block the unit cell. Every crystalline structure in the universe can be mapped and predicted using a matrix of just 6 geometric parameters. By defining the boundaries of this tiny mathematical box, we can determine the physical behavior of all materials in solid-state chemistry. We begin building this geometric matrix with a single origin point at 0, 0, 0 in an empty coordinate space. From this origin, we defined our first 3 parameters, the lengths of the unit cell edges, projecting outward as axes A, B, and C. The final 3 parameters are the intersecting angles between these axes. Alpha sits between B and C, beta sits between A and C, and gamma sits between A and B. Together, these 6 constraints generate a 3-dimensional bounding box. In the cubic system, all edge lengths are equal, and all intersecting angles are exactly 90 degrees. If we break one constraint, stretching the C-axis so it no longer equals A and B, we generate the tetragonal system. Stretching the B-axis ensures no sides are equal in length, giving us the orthorhombic system. The angles all remain 90 degrees. If we remove an angular constraint by skewing the beta angle away from 90 degrees, orthogonal symmetry breaks. This is the monoclinic system. Removing all constraints leaves us with no equal lengths and no 90-degree angles. This fully irregular geometry is the triclinic system. If we reset the lengths and introduce a specific 120-degree gamma angle, we establish the hexagonal system. By systematically altering just these 6 parameters, the universe is mathematically restricted to exactly 7 distinct macroscopic crystal shapes. These 7 crystal systems are essentially empty bounding boxes. To model real matter, we must place atoms or lattice points into these geometries. We start with the primitive cell, which places atoms only at the 8 extreme corners of the bounding box. In a continuous crystal lattice, atoms at the corners are shared by neighboring cells. They do not sit entirely inside our single bounding box. Because each corner atom is shared among 8 intersecting cells, only 1/8 of each sphere belongs to this specific unit cell. 8 corners multiplied by 1/8 yields exactly 1 full atom per primitive unit cell. If we pack a whole extra atom directly into the isolated center of the cell volume, we create a body-centered translation. This configuration increases the packing density, doubling the total number of lattice points to 2. In a face-centered translation, the center atom is removed entirely, and half atoms are placed flush on the 6 exterior faces. 6 half atoms on the faces, combined with the 8 corner fragments, yields a total of 4 atoms per cell. Applying these specific centering configurations, primitive, body, face, and end-centered, to our 7 original crystal systems yields a strictly finite number of viable 3D translational arrangements. These combinations produce exactly 14 Bravais lattices. This is the absolute geometric limit for how points can repeat periodically in 3-dimensional space. To engineer actual materials, chemists must pinpoint exact atomic locations inside these unit cells without relying on absolute measurements like nanometers. They use fractional coordinates, which normalize atomic positions as percentages of the total A, B, and C edge lengths. For instance, an atom sitting flat on the bottom face of this cell has a fractional coordinate of 1/2, 1/2, 0. Because atoms are spherical, close packing them inherently leaves unavoidable void spaces inside the lattice. The specific void space generated between the face and corner atoms is called an octahedral hole. Nature utilizes these specific geometric holes to construct multi-element ionic solids, balancing larger and smaller ions against each other. A face-centered lattice of large chlorine ions provides exactly enough octahedral holes to accommodate smaller sodium ions. When these smaller sodium spheres snap into the octahedral holes, the crystal structure for sodium chloride is complete. The one-to-one macroscopic chemical stoichiometry of salt is a direct mathematical consequence of filling these microscopic interstitial holes. Atoms are far too small to reflect visible light, so how do we empirically prove that these abstract unit cell parameters actually exist? The solution is X-ray diffraction, a technique that uses wavelengths small enough to slip between atomic planes. This chart shows an X-ray diffraction readout for calcite. Each distinct peak represents an X-ray successfully bouncing off a specific internal plane of atoms. To decipher this data, crystallographers use Bragg's law. Bragg's law uses the angle of the diffracted X-rays to calculate the exact distance, or d, between the atomic planes inside the crystal. By measuring these internal distances from multiple angles, chemists can reverse engineer the exact lengths of A, B, and C, along with the angles alpha, beta, and gamma. Once those parameters are confirmed, the unit cell can be duplicated and tiled into three-dimensional space, expanding outward exponentially to form a massive, rigid structure. The theoretical mathematical lattice aligns with the macroscopic rhombohedral calcite crystals found in nature. The unit cell links the principles of atomic-level arrangements to the bulk physical properties of the materials we hold in our hands. By mastering the rigorous geometry of these lengths and angles, solid-state chemists can precisely manipulate and design the functional solids required for modern technology. When we look at a block of iron or copper, our eyes report a continuous, impenetrable wall of matter. But if we zoom in past the macroscopic scale, it's tightly together as physics allows, nesting into the gaps between their neighbors to minimize the volume. Understanding how these microscopic spheres arrange themselves is the first step to manipulating the physical properties of our macroscopic world. This packing happens in layers. In some metals, the layers alternate in an AB-AB pattern known as hexagonal close packing. In others, they form an ABC-AB sequence called cubic close packing. Even in these mathematically optimal configurations, perfectly packed spheres can only occupy 74% of the available volume. This geometric limit leaves 26% of the metal as completely empty space. These gaps provide the microscopic staging ground for materials engineering, offering a series of specific, invisible locations where we can intervene to change the metal's behavior. If we focus entirely on that 26%, we find a network of pockets called interstices. The first is the tetrahedral site. It forms when a single atom sits directly over a triangular hollow of three spheres beneath it. This incredibly tight geometry means a foreign atom only fits if its radius is under 0.225 times the host. While tetrahedral sites are numerous throughout the lattice, their extreme size constraint makes them impenetrable to all but the absolute smallest elements in the periodic table. This brings us to a larger, more versatile type of microscopic empty space, the octahedral site. This gap forms when a triangular hollow opposes another in the layer above, creating a void bounded by exactly 6 atoms. This roomier space accommodates a guest atom up to 0.414 times the size of the host. In a typical close-packed metal, every single atom is surrounded by 2 tetrahedral holes and 1 octahedral hole. This arrangement transforms the metal lattice into a microscopic framework of vacant, specific-sized rooms waiting to be occupied. Pure metals are often too soft for construction. Their orderly atomic layers slide past each other with little resistance. To solve this, engineers create alloys. They deliberately introduce foreign elements to change the physical properties of the host metal. In an interstitial alloy, small guest atoms like carbon enter a host lattice of iron. They slide precisely into the 0.414 radius octahedral voids without disrupting the grid. These carbon occupants act as physical wedges. When the iron is under stress and the layers attempt to slide, the carbon atoms block the movement. This geometric wedging of the octahedral void is what transforms soft, pliable iron into high-strength steel. However, some guest atoms are simply too large to fit into even the roomiest octahedral void. In these cases, engineers use a substitutional alloy. Instead of hiding in the gaps, the guest atoms directly swap places with the host atoms in the lattice. This atomic exchange between zinc and copper is the precise mechanism used to create brass. These engineered geometries provide the underlying strength for the macroscopic structures that define our era. The endurance of our cities and bridges depends not just on solid matter, but on mastering the empty spaces hidden within it. We are conditioned to equate crystalline perfection with value. If you compare a rough, chaotic stone to a perfectly faceted diamond, we instinctively assume the flawless object holds the most utility. But in material science, that intuition is backward. A structurally flawless crystal, kept at absolute zero, is entirely useless for modern technology. That rigid symmetry creates a trap. Because every atom sits in its exact mathematical position, every valence electron is locked into a designated bond. Without the freedom to move, the material becomes an absolute electrical insulator. Modern hardware relies on materials like this silicon wafer. While it looks like a masterpiece of order, its utility lies in its engineered compromise, a highly symmetrical structure seeded with exact microscopic flaws. To control the flow of electricity and build modern electronics, we must first decipher the strict geometric rules of perfect crystals, specifically so we know how to break them. The architectural blueprint of any solid starts with the unit cell. This is the smallest repeating three-dimensional box of atoms that carries all the information needed to build an infinite lattice. By altering 3 edge lengths and angles, you generate the 7 primary crystal systems, turning a cube into tetragonal or orthorhombic prisms. We can tile these systems in space in exactly 14 ways. These are the Bravais lattices, formed by adding internal or face-centered points. Beyond simple tiling, we look at point groups, the 32 possible rotational and mirror symmetries that determine how these microscopic unit cells combine. These microscopic rules scale up directly to what you can see in your hand. The sharp right angles of cubic salt crystals are the macro-level evidence of the isometric point group at the atomic level. While this mathematical blueprint creates a beautiful, repeating symmetry, it also creates an environment that is far too rigid for electrons to navigate. Understanding why requires looking at electronic behavior through band theory. This quantum mechanical model treats shared electrons as continuous energy bands rather than individual atomic orbits. In a perfect Bravais lattice, overlapping atoms crowd valence electrons into a filled energy band. With a flawless lattice, there is zero room for movement. A forbidden energy void, the band gap, separates this filled band from the empty conduction band above. Without an immense influx of thermal or electrical energy to jump this gap, the electrons remain stationary. Absolute mathematical perfection leads to a technological dead end. In this flawless lattice, electrons are trapped within an inescapable electrical prison. Thermodynamics ensures that real-world solids are never flawless. Entropy demands a certain population of defects to maximize physical stability. The most common are point defects, specifically vacancies like Schottky defects, where an atom is entirely missing from its assigned lattice site. Transition metal oxides often exhibit non-stoichiometry, deviating from whole number ratios. To maintain electrical neutrality, the surrounding crystal must adapt its charge. Material scientists use a process called doping to intentionally force foreign atoms into the crystal lattice, mimicking these natural defects. These missing and foreign atoms provide the necessary pathways to break the electrical deadlock, introducing the specific vacancies that a perfect lattice lacks. When an atom is missing, or a doped atom arrives with fewer electrons, it creates a mobile positive hole inside the formerly rigid crystal. If we apply an electric field, an electron from a neighboring atom finally gains enough freedom to jump into this empty spot. When that electron jumps, it leaves a new hole behind it, allowing the next electron to move. As electrons shift to the right, the holes effectively travel to the left. This cascading movement through microscopic vacancies enables electrical conductivity in semiconductors. This exact process allows a microchip to process data, bridging the gap between microscopic defect chemistry and physical hardware. Technological advancement emerges from our ability to master the architecture of imperfection, turning static, dead crystals into the engines of the digital age. If you take a grain of salt and crack it open, it breaks apart to reveal an endless, perfectly repeating internal geometric grid. The geometry of this grid dictates the physical properties of the material itself. To see these structures, we face a scale problem. The space between atoms is roughly 100 picometers, which makes visible light waves too massive to interact with them. the light simply washes right over the grid. This early medical X-ray shows how certain radiation can penetrate soft tissue. Physicists realized that these same X-rays possess a wavelength precisely sized to interact with the incredibly tiny gaps between atoms. But there is a major physical constraint. X-rays only reveal an atomic structure if the target matter is organized enough to act as a three-dimensional diffraction mirror. Before we can resolve these structures, we have to solve a preparation problem. Chaotic matter must be organized into a highly specific geometric target. In solid-state chemistry, a unit cell is the smallest repeating block of a crystal lattice that, when tiled, generates the entire structure. These blocks stack into a limited number of mathematical configurations, known as Bravais lattices, like the hexagonal or monoclinic system seen here. To create these materials, researchers use the ceramic method. The process begins by aggressively grinding reagents into a fine dust to maximize their surface area. Once the powders are compressed, they are baked at temperatures up to 2,000 degrees Celsius. This extreme heat forces the atoms to react and form new chemical bonds. This results in a polycrystalline powder. Instead of one large structure, the sample contains millions of microscopic crystals facing in random directions. This diagram shows why that powder is a useful target for a structural scan. The incident X-ray strikes the flat sample, hitting the random crystals at every possible angle and scattering the structural data toward the detector. Mapping complex molecules requires a delicate approach. Using the hydrothermal method, researchers grow a single, continuous crystal by slowly precipitating atoms onto a seed. This crystal is tiny and fragile. It must be carefully isolated and mounted on a microscopic nylon loop to keep it steady in the X-ray beam. The sample is then flash frozen with liquid nitrogen. This locks the atoms into place, preventing the natural thermal vibrations that would otherwise blur the resulting data. During the firing sequence, a monochromatic X-ray beam hits the crystal. A specialized mount called a goniometer slowly rotates the sample to ensure every part of the lattice is scanned. This animation shows Bragg's law in action. When X-rays bounce off parallel planes of atoms, they must exit the crystal perfectly synchronized to be detected, a phenomenon called constructive interference. With the angles precisely aligned, the detector captures the specific reflections, revealing the underlying lattice. The detector records a series of distinct, bright reflections. These dots provide the raw data on beam intensity and scattering angles. Computers analyze these points to reverse engineer a three-dimensional topographical map. This map shows the density of electrons throughout the crystal. This physical wireframe model is the result of that process. By mapping electron densities, researchers were able to discover the double helix structure of DNA. Today, this same technique is used to engineer high-capacity battery cathodes and to design life-saving pharmaceuticals. Mastering these techniques provides the coordinates for the next generation of material design. By controlling how light interacts with the lattice, we gain the ability to engineer matter from the ground up,